Welcome back to the infamous project, guys. We've got a 1990, 91. I probably should have checked before I started the video. We've got a June 1990 LX hatchback in the shop, and we're going to go over this guy in details. This is another local car here in Austin. The current owner just recently acquired it. And oh my God, talk about a survivor car. This car actually has some miles on it, but in the grand scheme of things, you would never know. This is actually probably a better car than one that has 100,000 less miles in a lot of cases. And I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I believe that in this episode. So as you can see, it's already on the lift. I've had it up. I have not driven the car other than from out in the parking lot to get it inside here. And this car was actually on another YouTube channel, I am told. And in fact, the owner sent me the individual's YouTube channel. So I'm going to look that up right now. And that's pretty cool. You know, the car has already had some fame online, the Rev Collective. So apparently the gentleman that runs that channel has done a few things to the car, and I'm sure we're going to be able to point those things out because the existing owner hasn't done a thing. He's brought it to me to go over everything, update a few things, and we're going to get into that right now. So here it is in Oxford white, and I presume single stage car that is actually in really, really good shape. And we talked about really nice shaped paint on the Bring a Trailer 91 GT convertible that my friend has listed for sale. And I believe this guy here, you can see how we're missing some paint, and it's just very, very light on the edges of the inner fenders here. That is pretty much the dead giveaway. The single stage, they never got enough paint in the engine bays or on the places that you wish that they did. And at a quick glance, you can see we've got VIN sticker, VIN sticker, VIN sticker, VIN, and I assure you they are under the doors. Well, I know they're here because we already checked this, but we got that guy there. I believe I saw the one underneath the bumper right here. And guys, if you're new to the channel or new to Fox Bodies, all right, this is where we check to make sure that all the panels are in fact original. And let me go ahead now, I'll grab the keys out. So as you can see, we've got a light titanium gray interior, which appears to be in pretty nice shape. We will open up the hatch here real quick. And there we are, VIN sticker, VIN sticker, VIN sticker, validating that all of these panels are true to the card. You can see kind of that lack of paint in all of the, I guess, secondary areas of the car. And we got a little bit of sun fade in the back here, nothing too crazy. We've actually got a rear hatch glass with no rear defrost lines. Man, I wish I could find one for my Cobra before I put a glass split back in it. So if anybody's got a line on a really nice rear glass with no defrost lines, let me know. And for the eagle eye viewers, you can see quarter windows have been replaced. So these would be your Scott Drake ones for the hatchback, and they do the job. I do prefer to actually prep these out and put some trim paint on them before installing them. It's not the end of the world. In fact, as long as there's a ceramic coat or some sort of coating to help protect that against the UV and especially the Texas sun, that is the main thing. Some of you guys are probably wondering what's going on here. Well, wherever this car was originally sold, they had their dealer tag and they drilled holes. So the owner actually got this and he stuck it on so that it would cover up the holes. And to be honest, I really can't blame him for that. And being a 90 car, we've got a black belt line. In fact, even if it was a 91, it would have the black belt line. We still have the smaller fender openings in the front, but that's not going to stop you from running bigger wheels. The lower you go, the more clearance that you get. I've talked about that time and time again, but we do have the 10 holes upgraded staggered set, which look pretty nice. Got upgraded headlights here, and back in the engine bay, things look pretty clean and tidy. AC blows ice cold in this thing. You can see it's got 134 conversion fittings on the original compressor unit here. Engine is super dry, it is clean, it is tidy. We've had the 10-pin jumper safety recall done, which we will be removing those jumper cables as we go through our little bit of overall inspection and slight modifications to the car. So we're gonna go ahead now, I'm gonna put the car up in the air. I have had it in the air because in fact I drained the oil yesterday, changed the filter already. I gotta put new oil in there. Fuel filter still needs to be changed, but let's go ahead and get the car up. So before I bring you guys to the underside of the car, I am going to let you know right now, 139,000 original documented miles on this car, a true definition of a survivor in my opinion. And as I go through this, you guys are going to start to put some of the pieces together on exactly why I said my statement earlier that this car probably shows a lot better than the one that might only have 40,000 miles on it and hasn't run in the past 10, 15, 20 odd years. So let's get to the underside of this car and have a look. And for anyone who says they can't find a clean Fox body, well, I don't know where they keep coming from, but guys, they do exist. So other than some dust and normal debris that you would see, because clearly the car has been driven 139,000 miles, but we don't have rust, we don't have holes, we have, well, no undercoat, which is even better. So we do know that this was a Southern car, and again, with the no rear defrost lines. And there's probably a couple things. I'm gonna let the eagle eyes have a look as I'm moving the camera around here and showing you guys a little bit of what's going on. You don't need to go run into the comments because we're gonna go over everything. And of course, if I do forget to say something or I miss something, by all means, you know, you guys can go down there and comment and tell me how it really is. But here we go. This is the underside of things. And I'll just pop the light on here. So the last car that we went over in comprehensive detail actually had 70,000 miles on it, and that was the Twilight Blue Notch. So we've got pretty much double the mileage on this car and not too much difference, which is, again, really, really impressive. So there has been a few more upgrades here, and that is representative of course, the mileage that's on the car. So starting in the front here, we can see that this pollution pump is doing nothing. So that was bypassed, and I believe that that was done by the previous owner, and I can understand why. We are in the Great Lone Star State of Texas, and we do not have emissions. So I am probably going to pull that guy off so we can get rid of the dead weight and its associated plumbing and whatnot that's up there. You can see there's the pipe on the back side of the cylinder head. But looking at things here, guys, we don't have any leaks from the power steering, maybe a little bit of seepage at one point there. You know, you just never know, but things are pretty dry and pretty clean, which is nice to see. And again, this car is one of those that if it ain't broke, we're not gonna fix it. So we are only going to be addressing the stuff that needs to be addressed, and well, most of it has actually already been done, which is great. So as mentioned, I drained the oil. We don't really seem to have any leaks. Everything's reasonably clean. Of course, you know, I did wipe a few things down as you do. But, you know, even back here at the back of the transmission, things look good. Transmission mount looks okay. The motor mounts look fine. I'll take a closer look at them from the top, but I think they're okay. I did check the rubber on the balancer, and it's okay. It's not puking out. Now, the oil pan gasket, we didn't see any major leaks, but guys, these nuts or these bolts in the front and the back were actually kind of loose. So I went ahead and tightened those guys up, and hopefully that'll keep things in check for a while. We can see here we've got a Ford remanufactured steering rack, so that was probably done at some point. Got SVE lowering springs, we got KYB AGX adjustable struts and shocks, we have the bump steer kit, and you can see here that there's an interesting style bolt in the top for the strut, and I believe that that is probably a cam style set up so that they could actually adjust camber with that bolt as opposed to trying to do it with the factory plates above. So this is actually a trick that I do with some of my slam cars by elongating that top hole, and that allows you to kind of shift your spindle in or out and achieve the camber, whether positive or negative, whatever that you're looking for that you want. So that's done. Our sway bar bushings, they actually look like they're in fine shape. The end links look good. I did notice, I did try and I probably can't do this while holding the camera at the same time. There's a tiniest little bit of play in the wheel bearings. So we're popping the wheels off. We will tighten the wheel bearings up, but the ball joint boots look good. Again, we got the bump steer kit for the tie rods. So everything there, knowing that the steering rack has been replaced, everything seems to be in good shape on the front side of things. Our lower radiator support's in good shape. Nobody's pulled up to curbs too close and, you know, whack the underside here. And you can even see that lower side of the front bumper cover. No crazy waves or anything in here. It's pretty much, you know, as good as it would have been when it came off the dealer lot. So we got all that. Control arm bushings, they actually still, like, they've dried up a little bit. Whether they're worth replacing at this point, I'd probably say not. Now you could probably argue and say, oh yeah, you know, the control arm bushings are old, you know, you could swap those out. You know, we still got original brakes, but the pads have been done, and everything seems to have been serviced together. And my advice to the customer is going to be this: before you start getting crazy into control arms and stuff that you just want to upgrade, because it's, drive the car. Make sure that you enjoy it and that you really like it and that it's meeting all of your expectations of getting into a Fox body. Because whether you owned one in the past and you're trying to relive childhood memories, or you just always wish that you could have one or are getting into one, Fox body might not end up being 100% what you were after. Maybe you drive it for a year, maybe you drive it for 2 years, and then you realize you're not driving it as much as you thought you would. Don't go burning money, I guess is the best way of putting it. So again, the control arm bushings, they work. There's no play or anything in there. Like, as mentioned, a little bit in the wheel bearings. So we'll get those tightened up. You know, and the ball joints, boots, and all that stuff, they all look good. So similarly in the back here with the upper control arms, you can see there's a couple little cracks up there. But in the grand scheme of things, that's really nothing too crazy. And the owner has expressed maybe wanting to upgrade the gears in the back. We'll do a little spin test here. We believe there's 273s. So if that is the case, then actually I don't have it in neutral. So I'll put it down. We'll do the spin test here in a minute and we'll see what gears are in it. And I'm going to advise, if the car has 273s, I'd say 327s are good. If the car has 308s and he still wants more jam, then I'm going to tell him maybe 355s. And for anybody who's like, well, why would you only recommend 327s? Well, we got fast speed limits here in Texas. We got posted 85s in some places, and even where it's not a posted 85, people are still doing 90 miles an hour. And if you're on the highway for, you know, good amounts of time, and you got the wife in the car with you, and you're revving at 3,300 RPM, not so enjoyable. So I think he told me he was cruising at 80 and it was around 2,000 RPM. So I think this car might actually, I don't want to say cursed, but it's definitely got the highway 273s in it. So we'll put the car in neutral. I'll show you guys how we do the old spin test here, but let's carry on with the bottom side. So moving on towards the back, right? Inspection plate and stuff that sometimes is missing after service or clutch installs or whatever it might be. All that stuff's on there. Our rubbers for the transmission cross member, that all looks fine. You can see we've actually got an aftermarket X pipe here with no cats and a Bassani catback. So this flow tube setup's a little, I don't know, the symmetry is a little bit off here, but I can't really fault people when you're probably laying on your back, or even if you got a hoist. This can be an absolute pain in the ass to get your exhaust tips exactly where you want them. And if I really wanted to be picky, I'd say that that guy's a little bit taller than this guy is. And looking at this hanger, you can see it's actually not in the right spot. See a little bit of movement there. So we're gonna try and adjust this setup here, try and get the hanger in the appropriate spot. I'm gonna show you guys how It's actually a lot easier than you would think. A lot of guys actually miss a really easy way to do an adjustment for your tips, and I'm going to go over that in a minute. But going back here, the car was definitely on a recovery, flatbed, rollback, whatever you want to call it, and they love to pop out these rubbers and stick their hooks in there and yank on the car. I absolutely hate that, and I seem to always see it happen in Texas. So I'm going to find some rubbers. We're going to get those in there. You can see we got bolt-on subframe connectors, and to be honest, for the factory 225 horsepower that this guy is putting out, some bolt-in subframe connectors are more than adequate, and really don't need to worry about welding those in. Looks like somebody took the time. All the right hardware is there. We got the crossers that go into the rear seat bolts for added support. We don't have any cracks in the floor, which sometimes we can see in this area, especially on the driver's side from, you know, larger dudes doing their power shifts and all that stuff. But everything looks good. Torque boxes look good. Guys, the pinch welds, look at that. Nice and straight. And again, this is such a nice, clean underside car. The lower control arms in the back, these have been upgraded with Maximum Motorsports with the adjustable perches. I always laugh when I see this because pretty sure I actually invented this setup when I did the stocker vert like 20 years ago. But whatever, beat me to it. They made it happen. So SV springs, and again, the KYB AGX in the back. Now, if you are not new to the channel, you guys would know that I always talk shit about KYB and how they don't like being on lowered suspension. And that is if you have the silver or the white variations of KYB, that would be technically your OEM replacements. Those are not designed to be riding lower, and they will not last. Now, the AGX, however, they are in fact much more expensive than a traditional KYB, and they are adjustable. So you'll see right here, we've got 8 settings of adjustability, and the front on the tops of these struts, much like a Coney, you can adjust them on the knobs on the top there as well. So the AGX working with these SV lowering springs is more than adequate to do the job, and I'm sure the car rides extremely well. You can see we've actually still got quad shocks. Love to see that. Again, another pet peeve of mine, people thinking that quad shocks do nothing. Well, if you think they do nothing, then that's fine. I know what your expectations of ride quality and comfort levels are like, and that's completely fine. Wheels and tires, obviously, pretty much like brand new. And again, I've never seen the 10 holes in person, and I'm still not a fan. However, they do look a million times better than a factory 15-inch 10 hole. So I will give them that. If you're going for that OEM plus look, then, you know, they do their job. So other than that, we don't have really any corrosion. We really just have to deal with this exhaust tip. And I have actually, and that's, man, this is what I love about my lift, is it goes up so high. So I have all the head clearance, but it actually goes up so high that, you know, I haven't got to go on my toes to reach stuff. Oh, there we go. Oh. So I don't know the last time that this was changed, but we're going to go ahead and change it anyways. So I'd unclipped that yesterday. Didn't want to do all the work and not have the camera with me. That's pretty much going to do it on the underside of the car here. So we've got a brand new fuel filter right here. We're going to go ahead, we'll put this in, and we're going to do the tailpipe right now. So I'll put the car down to make my life a little bit easier. All right, so we'll be able to do this tailpipe real quick, do the fuel filter. And to be honest, it's pretty much, other than the rubbers for where they put the hooks through for towing. And that'll pretty much be it for the underside of this car. So let's get this fuel filter done. Flow. This way. You can see the old filter had the old branding on it, and you can see that this is just totally China. Like, I bet you if you got gas on this writing, that Motorcraft would like just disappear totally. So who knows, maybe this filter is actually worse. It's pretty bad when you're putting on new parts that you think are going to be better, and they could potentially be worse than what was on. You know what, this might have been done. Maybe I should have checked that YouTube channel to see if he had changed the filter. Maybe he did. Okay, so as we are now over here, and this is going to be hard to show you guys. So you see this bracket right here that the rubber slides onto in the top? Well, I believe it's a 10mm bolt. And if you actually loosen that bolt off up there, you can rotate this guy. And in our case, we can rotate it so it's actually going upward, which can pull the tailpipe up more where we want it. So let me go get a socket and hopefully we can do our adjustment and get this pipe probably right about there and maybe even in the right hole for the rubber. I loathe exhaust, guys. Like nothing ever wants to fit properly. Let's see here. Oh my God. Guys, I've seen it all. They wedged a stick to take up the room in the rubber. A stick. I don't know if that was you on the last YouTube channel. If it was, I busted you. If it wasn't, then that's okay. So you can see there is a tab that kind of locks into place. So you might have to take the tab out of that area and move it to exactly where you need. Again, it's not about, you know, installing exhaust the right or the wrong way. If the aftermarket could actually make a product that would fit the way that it's supposed to, then we wouldn't have to do stuff like this. So this would have sat around here, and by taking the tab out of that locking hole, it allows you to rotate it, you know, all the way up to there if you wanted. So that's what we've done. So now we can put our rubber back on and see if we can get it in the more appropriate location so that we don't have to use a stick wedged in here to take up the space, and hopefully things will work the way we want. Some soapy water. Probably allow us to hopefully. There we go. Now that we're snug, now I can tap this up. There we go. It's pretty much aligned with the other side. All right, so you can see just a little bit there. We got just a little bit here. I think we're pretty good. So I just remembered all my rubber grommets are actually at the house because I needed them for the Cobra, going through trying to put grommets in it. So I'll make a note to myself to grab those when I go home tonight, and then we'll have them for tomorrow. But aside from those grommets, fuel filter done, oil's been drained, filter's been changed, exhaust pipe has been fixed, and that'll pretty much complete everything that we need to do on the lift. So I'm not gonna take it off because I do want to put it back up after, once I do have the grommets, but I can put it down enough and we can go over some of the interior and engine bay bits. So let's talk about the super clean engine bay now that the car is down, because this is, like I said, a really, really good example of a survivor that has been updated and well cared for throughout the years and miles that it's seen. So you'll notice it's got the old school brass style 3-core radiator in it. And these are, or were, amazing upgrades and a lot better than the Chinese options that we see for the most part in most Fox bodies today. We got the 3G alternator upgrade, and I did see that all the associated wiring and big style wafer fuse down below the battery box was actually all intact, so that was done properly. And it doesn't get more OG than factory headers with the cherry picking hooks still in place. I believe we probably have date coded plug wires on here, which again is always a rarity to see. And we are missing the battery hold down, and it looks like the assembly that goes down through there is in fact missing. So I'm going to check my stockpile, see if I've got a factory battery tray laying around that has what we need so that we can get that fixed up. And we will be doing a compression test just to make sure that the compression on the motor and everything is good. So that means all the spark plugs will come out. I'll be taking this intake boot off, and in fact, let me get at that here right now. You can see there's a new coolant temp sensor that's been installed there. And what else? Here's the adjustments for the AGX. So you got 4-way worth of adjustment on the top here. And although the rivet, alignment rivet, is no longer here, as previously mentioned, I believe all the camber adjustment that needed to be done was done on the upper spindle mounts for the struts. So anyways, let's get doing some wrenching here, and we'll talk a little bit more about this beautiful 90 hatch. All right, so you guys are probably wondering, well, why is he praising a 140,000 mile Fox body? Well, guys, you saw how dry and how clean the underside is. And when you start this car up and just even driving it, some of these cars, as soon as you get in, you close the door and you start it up, you just know. And that feeling comes from experience with these cars. And some of you guys are going to know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Other guys are like, you know, you're crazy to know that based off just starting up a car. So this car, having had the miles that having the miles that it does, and being taken care of, means that the car never really stopped moving its entire life. It's not a car that was parked, you know, back in the late 2000s and didn't run for 10 years and, you know, parked in a garage, not well cared for, not started up, fluids weren't moving, you know, wheels not rolling and all that stuff. And guys, these cars, no car does well sitting. And a car that sits, seals get dry and things deteriorate. And even though you can get that car that sat sometimes running, you know, you do the fuel system and you do the basics and you do all that stuff, yes, 100%, you can get them running on the road. But what you're going to find out is you're going to put, I don't know, 5,000 miles on, the alternator's going to go. The water pump's going to start leaking. The lower intake gasket's going to start puking. The rear main, all of those things that, right, the maintenance wasn't done over the years. The opportunity to do the maintenance over the years wasn't done. And as a result, you're going to find yourself in a bunch of headaches. Whereas this car, yes, has 140,000 miles. Guys, still has a factory heater core in it. Like, that hasn't even started leaking yet. And I can tell by the clamps and I can tell by the hoses. And you know what? I told the customer it might start leaking next week, but I'm not going to touch it until it does start leaking. Why do we want to rip out a dash when we don't need to? And things have been well taken care of and cared for and everything else. So that's sort of the point. Like, just because something has high miles doesn't mean it's a bad car. Now, this car is a rarity. There's a lot of cars with 140, 160, 200,000 miles that, well, the rat traps and you pretty much got to go through and restore the whole damn car. But let me tell you, this car, and you can tell by the quality of the paint and the quality and the way that everything was maintained, that you're not gonna have to worry about that. So here we go. So usually I jam spark plugs into the unused pipes, and they opted for an old O2 sensor. Crafty. I like using the spark plug though. There's just something about having the, I don't know, the end of the spark plug sticking out that's quite comical. But like I said, guys, we're gonna remove the stuff that isn't in use anymore anyways. And it's also gonna make things easier because we are going to be doing a compression test on this guy, because the owner did express that if he does end up keeping the car, he is gonna want a little bit more power, and these plugs are definitely, they're on there. I don't want to rip the wire out of the boot. You can see we have a jumper junction here that was done, and this is bypassing the solenoid that was on that piping. And guys, well, we can just cap these ends off quite easily. So we'll keep these over there for now. Just want to get these plug wires off. There we go. And the spark plugs look fairly new. Okay. I still don't know why this was a recall when you're just adding more connection points and possibility for water or elements or whatever to get in and give you possible issues. So what I do is I remove them. So the tip recall is to undo the recall. I am going to check the PCV, and it is in place and has been upgraded, and I can tell because I can feel the extra nipple on there that the newer style guys come with. So that's been taken care of. Not very oily back there, so all that checks out and is good. All right, I guess we can check our air filter. Got a Fram, it's in there, looks decent. All our spark plugs are accessible. So again, a lot of the maintenance items and basics, the oil pressure sending unit, one that looks like a mushroom, that one has been changed. Okay, there we go. Whew. And I'm gonna have to put some dielectric on these guys. Whew. They are on there. There we go. Okay. So one thing that I noticed is this car is actually still rocking an original style starter on it. So yeah, it means it doesn't even have the high torque mini on it. I'm just looking at the starter solenoid here. Looking at the big 4-gauge wire on the other side. Okay, everything looks pretty good. Okay, guys, so I guess we'll do it like last time. I'm gonna start with number 8. It's gonna be interesting to see how does 70,000 miles on a stock motor do against 140,000 miles, 139, whatever you want to call it. But let's make sure this guy's in neutral. And let's see what we got. Jeez, 150, 60, pretty much 170. 169. 169. 166. 168. Man, 171. 168. 168. Okay, our lowest, 165. All right, guys, so overall, we have some really good numbers with this compression test. I'm actually really impressed with 140,000 miles. If it were me, and I told the owner, because he's like, oh, I might want a little bit more power later. I'm like, dude, if the compression numbers come back good, which they've come back more than good, like 165 out of 171 is, we have a 3% variance, which is like nothing. So I'd just go ahead and stick a Vortec on here and call it a day. Maybe do a pan gasket, depending after tightening up those bolts, but we'll see. Obviously, I think just making sure we got good, healthy breathing, engine breathing set up with a catch can and all that stuff, just to make sure things are breathing well. But these numbers, I don't think there's very much blow by, if any. Be a damn good contender to just put a blower on it and send it, and don't open up a motor that isn't broken and has lasted 140,000 miles and produces numbers like this. So one thing that I have noticed that I'm going to have to reach out and let them know, motor mounts. So here's these factory style mounts, and you can see this guy, it's not horrible, but it's definitely got some cracks starting up there in the top. But this side is even nastier. You can see it's split right down on the left side there. So we will probably upgrade to some convertible style motor mounts. So clearly those mounts have never been changed. We'll run that by the owner. Hopefully everything will be good there. We'll get the spark plugs jammed back in, and actually should probably knock the front wheels off so I can tighten up the wheel bearings, just get rid of that play in there. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now before I forget. Might not even need to take the wheel off with all this access, but I actually want to check the brake pads. What's up? Dude, I always work in these hot-ass temperatures.
How's the trip?
It was good, man.
How's my car driving?
Which one? Oh, yeah, it was all right. There's some, I think maybe a wheel bearing started making noise towards the end of my, I put like 600 miles on it.
No shit.
Yeah.
Ship's good though?
Oh yeah. Yeah, none of that issue that you had. So clearly there was something fucked up with that clutch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was loose. Oh, this wheel bearing was.
What are your thoughts on how he did?
Huh?
What are your thoughts on how he did?
He did all right on that one.
I think I'm gonna try to take my car up to the shop using my dolly. I think it's pretty alright with that.
Dolly boy.
And that's why I bought it.
Want to say hi?
Hey.
Drink your beer.
Salud.
We're back. Yesterday, I pretty much cut the camera once Jerry showed up and he decided to drink some beers and supervise, but that was fine. We were getting close to the end of the day, but the wheel bearings have been tightened on both sides. The nice thing about these 10-hole wheels, or if you have anything that has the hub hidden behind a big center cap like these, is that you actually don't need to take the wheel off to do it. In this case, I did want to pop a wheel off just to check the brake pads and the brakes. In fact, all that looked fine. Lots of life left there. I did pull the spark plug wires off, and I am going to change them. I have an extra set on the shelf here. So those are going to be going on. The cap looked a little tired, so that's going to be replaced, and then I'll give them everything back in the box here. So not horrible, but you know, when you got new parts, you might as well as stick them on, and he can preserve all of the stuff that came off. Got a wrench down here. Going to take the pollution pump off, because again, that's just sort of dead weight at the moment. So we'll pull that guy off. I just wanted to get this top bolt loosened off nicely, which I think it pretty much is at this point before I put the car back up. And good thing I didn't take it off the lift, right? We were talking about those rubber grommets, which I've brought some with me here today. 2 sizes. So hopefully one of these will work. We got some LED headlight bulbs. We've got new motor mounts that have shown up, convertible style, and hopefully they're the right ones. They look like the right ones. So, ooh, you actually even get new shiny nut. Who would have thought? Extra added value. So these are just O'Reilly specials. Some speakers started to show up for the interior. We got our Fox locks kit that has shown up as well. So we got lots to do. So let's go ahead. We'll get the car back up. So first things first, good thing I brought 2 sizes, because I think with the way that they kind of enlarged the hole from their tow hooks, I think, the bigger guys are gonna be the way to go. Come on. Of course, it'll be a little tricky because the metal's a little bent. There we go. Guy should be fine. There we go. Boom. So a lot of people would probably think that motor mounts is a challenging job, and it's definitely shittier if you don't have a lift. But if you've got a lift and a jack post, don't get me wrong, jack stands and a jack can do you all just fine as well. And yes, guys, I use the oil pan. Yes, I use the oil pan. And the oil pan is just fine to lift the motor up. Just don't get it on the drain plug. There we go. The wobble effect going. There we go. All right. So there's one. Repeat on the other side. So that's the main motor mount nuts off, which that will allow us to raise the motor up. Just like so. And it's depending on which way, what wants to go higher first. Of course, your exhaust and everything wants to move in this case. But we're pretty much in position there. Okay. There we go. I might actually, you know what? Might take this oil filter off. Haven't started the car yet since the oil change. On. There we go. One. our new convertible style mount in. What a pain. Okay, let's try that. Oh, the clutch fan has got some pressure on it now. I don't want to go much more than that, otherwise I'll be loosening clutch fans off. Now, do the other side. All right guys, so we've got nice new motor mounts installed in here. Happy with the way that that went down. You can see someone's actually already got the timing marks here, so that's good. I will dial this in. So they've got 10, and then first dot's 12, 14, 16, 18, and then 20. So note to self, when we adjust the timing, we're gonna be looking for probably the second dot. In fact, to make my life easier, I'm just gonna do this, because that'll be the desirable line right there. So I was originally gonna do the transmission mount, and to be honest, I looked at it really closely. There are no tears, there's no movement. I had a bar in there moving everything around. And again, that's one of those things. Who knows? I could put an aftermarket one in. The aftermarket one might blow out in 6 months. So we're gonna leave that guy for now. I think with new motor mounts, transmission mount shouldn't really see much stress or anything else on it. So I think, other than me being filthy here, I gotta get washed up. So even the clean cars can get you dirty. Now we'll put the car down, and that's gonna conclude for real this time everything that needed to happen on the underside of the car. The owner did reach out to me asking about gears, we have not completed what we want to do. So we are in neutral now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put a piece of tape right here, 6 o'clock on this wheel, okay? And we're gonna put a piece of tape right here, 6 o'clock on this diff. So we're gonna count how many times this spins for this to go around once. So there's one. You can see we're still not around here. There's 2, and this is where we want to pay closer attention. And guys, the tape is about 3/4 of the way through its turn. And what's 3/4 mean? Well, it'd be 0.75, and it's not quite there. I'd call that a 373 a 273 rear diff. So if this diff had been a 308, it probably would have been right around there. And you can see where the tape is on the wheel here now. And if the diff would have had 327s, kind of would have been opposite of where we landed, would have been around there. So you can see where the tape is there. If we had 355s, it would have been right at the top, and 373s would have been, you know, right around there. So almost one full rotation away from having 373s. So if any of you guys can kind of visualize that in your head, right? That's how much faster you'd feel you were going if you put 373s in here. So, and as mentioned at the start of the video, 355s would be the max that I would go here in Texas with our speed limits. And the 18-inch wheels are gonna help a little bit because there's a overall larger rotating circumference with the tire profile and everything else that's on there over the original 15-inch wheels. So I explained to him, he asked me how much that I wanted to throw a set of gears in, and I was just like, I don't like doing gears. So I put a price on it that pretty much said, you know what, you could probably find somebody else that'll be able to do it quicker and easier, and especially now with the new bearing design, unless you can get away with just changing the ring and pinion itself. If you got to get into the bearings and you got to do the races, and like you're pretty much building the whole rear end at that point, which that's where I put my hands up and say, I don't want to deal with the smell. I don't want to deal with the amount of time, guys. There's things that I'm good at and there's things that other people are good at, and I am happy to pass on jobs to the people that are better than me at certain things, and putting gears in and dealing with all of the backlash and all that stuff. That's for somebody else, at least in this case. So that's going to do it for the underside of the car. Go ahead, put the car down, and we'll start tinkering with the rest of the stuff in the engine bay. Actually, almost forgot, got to take off that pollution pump. Got to take off that pollution pump. I've actually still got the ratchet right there. That's going to be super easy. Take this bolt off here. That bolt's already almost out. And yeah, we won't have to worry about this guy. There's really no reason, guys. Weight reduction, whatever. Just keeping, because this is the thing. This is a pump that's not moving now because there's no belt spinning the pulley. So I just want to make sure that that nut's actually coming off and that it's not trying to take the whole bolt out of the timing cover, because it's sort of a nut on stud situation for the pollution pump. So again, yeah, if your pollution pump's not turning, sitting there, all the debris is going up, getting in the threads of the oh, all right. So yeah, guys, so if your pollution pump is not spinning, and it's just kind of sitting there and dirt and debris and everything is getting all up in the pulley and your bearings, well, it's going to be more likely that that pulley is going to want to seize up. And to be honest, this pollution pump's got some value to someone from Cali. And as I told the owner, you know, if for whatever reason you have the car for a year or 2 years, 5 years, and you decide that the car is no longer for you and you want to get rid of it, then someone from Cali might want to buy it. And if somebody from Cali wants to buy it, they're going to be like, hey man, I really need that smog stuff. And in this case, he'll be able to say he has it. Come on. Oh, come on. Oh, back myself into the fan here, sort of, kind of. All right, so there's the bolt. Okay, it's definitely in there. Loosen this guy off, crack that loose. See here. All right, there we go. There's now nothing holding this on. There we go. One pump. There we go. Ultra lightweight. Less stuff in the way. More stuff in the box. Car's back down on the ground. Oops. Put a bit of dielectric on our cap here. What do we got? One's up here. All right, what do I got here? I got a set of these MSD ST wires. I'm pretty sure, oops, for a Fox. Here's a coil wire. Not in a numbered situation, but they're all pretty similar in length here. Pretty similar in length. So 2 is usually kind of the closest, because 1372. So let's just see how this goes here. There's 2. And then, like I said, everything else is pretty much the same length on these. There's a couple longer ones. Maybe we'll use this one for 4. So 1, 3, 7, 2, 6, 5, 4. So that's a long one. There you go. 7 is going all the way. 1, 3, 7. There you go. The rest are just kind of all fair game. You guys don't know your FOXBODY firing order. It's time to learn it. This one's number 7. We already routed that over. Okay, I'll wait till I adjust the timing before I put the boot back on. Okay, let's see if I got some wire separators here. Try and clean things up a bit. There we go, one available now, $8.99. Let me clean up the look of the wires and we get everything put back on. White hatch. There we go. Thank you, O'Reilly's. That's on its way. While the hood is open, we can go ahead, do a little headlight upgrade here. Good old Mars Auto. Now guys, I don't know if Mars still stocks these or not. I kind of have a feeling that they do not. These were the ones that I had featured on my best Amazon deals. Okay, there's one. So we're not going to worry about turn signals or any of that stuff in this car. We just want nice bright headlights. They look the part, perfect contrast, and sometimes the bright LEDs with the incandescent bulbs actually looks really good. And I feel like in a stock appearing Mustang like this one, it looks the part. You might have to do a little bit of angle adjustment, but so those work. While we're here, let's see, somebody was already into the TPS, so we'll check the voltage on that. Let's see what we're at here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Five volts. Oh, not a good sign. Good thing I checked. Our computer's bad. Well, I'll be. Amazing how just something so simple can tell us so much. And I do have another A9L on the shelf over here. Here we go. So I actually sent this computer out to a gentleman that did a FOXBODY consultation with me who was having issues. And I said, hey, try this computer and see if it helps your problem. Unfortunately, this was not the problem in his case, but I do have it. So we'll be able to install this into here and hopefully solve the 5-volt problem. So 5-volt issue is probably capacitors could be leaking. I don't know if this was ever an AOD car. Guess we're gonna see, because if it was an AOD car and the O2 sensor harness didn't get adjusted, that would have burnt the trace wire. But anyways, all we can do now is, you know what, I'm gonna put the lift down the rest of the way. That way I can roll the car back so we can get the doors open. I need to pull the door panels off, be able to put door speakers and all that in anyways. So let's move the car. We'll get that computer out, this computer in, and we'll see if we don't have 5 volts and we can actually get the 1 volt that we want with resting throttle body closed position. So first things first, this is in fact a 5-speed car. You can see the A9L sticker right here in the door jamb. The ignition is now switched off, as you don't want to leave that on when swapping computers. Pull this guy out. It's always nice to see that clip actually installed. Okay. And here is our computer. Guys, even the little plastic caps that go over the seat bolts to hide them, they're actually installed. The screws that are in the support brace for the radio. Man, crazy. Nice well-kept car like this, and just never know with these old computers. There you go. Oh no. Oh no. 10 mil fell down into the abyss. So, let's see here. A little bit more. Come on. I think we got it. There we go. First things first. Recover 10 mil socket. Oh no. Oh, got it. Got it. So, before I go committing to taking the old one out and putting that one back in there, you never know. It has gone through USPS postage processing all the way from Texas to Florida and back. So, and it's crazy, guys. Your sensors will read 5 volts. If your car is stock, you'd probably not even know that there's something wrong, other than maybe your gas mileage. This computer is just pretty much freestyling in limp mode for the most part, but here, let's see. Okay. Fuel pump doesn't want to turn off with this computer. It's one of those. Five volts as well. God damn it. Oh, I swore I had more computers, but maybe I don't. I do at home. Actually, what's this? I have an A9P. Oh, I have an A9P, and look at that. I'm smarter than I think sometimes. And these are all Godzilla computers. So, all right, note to self, I need to bring another computer with me tomorrow, so that way, hopefully, we can get this car running the way that it deserves. Always something with these cars. So that's that. So the doors are open, we're in the interior. So I guess while in Rome, guess we can get at pulling out the head unit, doing the LED cluster conversion, pull the door panels off, get the new speakers installed. I don't have the connector extensions, they haven't shown up yet, but at least we can get the old stuff out. We can get the Fox locks installed. So yeah, we got definitely a few things that we can get done here in the meantime. And I'm gonna have a drink, maybe have a snack, and we'll get back to this.